Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Silent Hill podcast. All right, another monster encountered within the Silent Hill game. This one actually having to do with a creature that it's pretty rare. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's only twice within the game itself. And then this particular monster has not been featured in anything else. No other games, no other movies, nothing like that. So this is a very rare monster. I guess you could say it could have some kind of cameo in one of the other games, but it's a very loose variation of it. And I'm talking about the creature that doesn't really have a name. It's just titled the Bloodsucker. And it's very aptly named because the way it was found and the way it's located and what it's feeding on, it pretty much its sole purpose in the game is just to really eat or suck on some puddles of blood within the game itself. And because of its location, it creates a blocking of sorts that the character, in this case Harry, has to get around or has to figure out a way to get around it. So what is the Bloodsucker? Well, it's a series of worms that seems to be found in one of the rooms within the Alchemila Hospital. Specifically, it's room 204. When you first enter that room, you start hearing some strange sounds. It looks like somebody is slurping something. And as you approach one of the corners, that's when you see this thing, the Bloodsucker. And all it does, its whole existence again, is to simply just aimlessly just suck on the blood that's located on the floor. But by doing so, it seems to have a blocking of some sort of something important. And I saw the player when he was trying to get around it, he figured it out that it involved essentially using a blood pack that that the player would have collected earlier in the game, and then throwing it towards the side, which in turn allows the Bloodsucker to be distracted by the blood and no longer pay attention to Harry, so that way he can reach the item he's looking for. Now, the Bloodsucker is pretty harmless in the sense that it doesn't really attack the player unless either A, Harry gets close enough, and then B, Harry gets close enough and then doesn't really distract it with the blood pack. Because what will happen is if something, like let's say the creature is able to get a hold of Harry, then it actually starts attacking him. Not really because it's like defending itself or anything. It seems to be just an aimless creature just looking for any source of blood. And so when Harry gets close to it, that's when the creature senses the new blood, and then that's when it starts reaching for Harry. But then once Harry goes away, then the creature goes back to the blood. So it's a pretty stupid, just aimless creature, and very easy to take care of. All you have to do again is just distract it with that blood pack, and then that's it. You're good to go. And then with regards to the Bloodsucker and what it's connected to, it seems to be very mysterious. The only thing you see are pretty much just the entrails within the game itself. Nothing else really close by, hinting as to what its rest of its body is. And I think this particular creature is more of an homage to one of the characters slash monsters within the Mist novel. And this is important because, as I mentioned in one of my previous podcasts, The Mist was a huge influence in the development of Silent Hill. This is the Mist novella by Stephen King. And there's a particular creature slash monster in that novel that's very reminiscent of the Bloodsucker. It's all you see are just some entrails, whatever these things are, these appendages, these long worm-like things with open mouths, and they attack one of the characters named Norm within the novel as they drag him away. But you don't see, as a viewer, you don't see the rest of the monster, and it remains very mysterious about what those entrails are connected to. And I think that's what this particular creature is an homage to, because these entrails go back somewhere. I mean, they go into the wall, and so presumably the creature, or a larger part of the creature, is somewhere back there, but you have no idea what it looks like. And obviously the game doesn't pay any more attention to that aspect, as once you do your job with taking care of distracting the Bloodsucker, then that's it. It's done, and its sole purpose in the game is gone. Otherwise, the Bloodsucker, there's no way to kill it. It's invulnerable. This is also a key feature to notate, because it is pretty much the first invulnerable enemy encountered within the series, so yet another first within the Silent Hill franchise. So you could shoot at it all day long, you could hit it with the club all day long. All you'll be doing is wasting ammo and potentially hurting yourself the closer you get to this creature. There's nothing that this creature does that can be killed, that you can do to the creature that can kill it, and this creature can do nothing to you other than what it's programmed to. So otherwise, that's pretty much it. As far as what the creature, the Bloodsucker, is supposed to symbolize, apparently there's a lot of meaning behind it. It's supposed to be, first of all, it's supposed to symbolize those anything involving like an insect-like creature that most young girls have an aversion to. So Alessa, in that case, she was scared of these creatures that resembled worms, that resembled snakes, anything that was writhing and just insect-like. It's supposed to represent that, but it also is supposed to be a symbolism for the order itself. And what apparently what that means is, just like these bloodsuckers are essentially suck any blood within them, the order is supposed to represent as that too, because the order sucks in people into their fanatical ideas. And so anybody that, for example, was not part of the cult or is not part of the order and now is, then that's what the bloodsucker is supposed to represent. It's supposed to represent the order yet again feeding on new blood, in this case being new members of the city converting into that cult. So pretty symbolic stuff. It's also supposed to represent the mother of Alessa, Dahlia Gillespie, essentially sucking in Alessa into her grand scheme of trying to birth the new god within Alessa, and doing it in an aimless and almost monstrous-like manner. So it's supposed to be a symbolism of that too. I think that's a little bit of a stretch on that part, but apparently that's what it's supposed to do. Now, as far as the only other time this creature has appeared, there's a very loose variation of it in the Silent Hill 3 game, and you'll see a picture of it here. There's a part in the Brookhaven Hospital where Heather comes across this creature, and it looks like the Bloodsucker, but the only difference is there's only one tentacle, and it doesn't appear to have a mouth of some sort. It just appears to just stay there, like wherever it's located. So it could be a loose variation of the Bloodsucker, maybe another cousin of it, whatever along those lines, but then that's it. That's the only other time that the Bloodsucker has appeared within anything else within the game itself. Also, another key thing to note, you'll see a picture here which is some of the concept art of the Bloodsucker, and you'll realize that it pretty much stayed as is from concept up until the final image of the game. It looks very reminiscent to what it shows on the concept art. So fascinating to see. It's one of those rare instances where you have something that was drawn on paper, and then afterward very little was changed, and so once it was made into the video game, then that was it. It was pretty much what it was shown on paper became part of the game itself. So the Bloodsucker, just not really a big creature to talk about, not really one of importance, but it's still one of those unique monsters that's encountered within the Silent Hill game. Most notable, of course, for being one of the first instances where you got to solve a puzzle, because in this case, this is a undefeatable enemy. So the only way to get around this enemy is to solve the puzzle. By the way, the use of the blood pack to distract a creature, very unique. When I was watching the game and the dude that was playing it first picked up that pouch and then saw some blood on the floor, and this was like levels before even meeting the Bloodsucker, I never would have thought to take like blood and put it in that particular pouch. I would be thinking something else, like putting in water or putting in acid, whatever, something more, I guess, different than anything involving blood, let alone thinking that something like this, like a Bloodsucker, was going to come across later on in the game, and that you would use that pouch with the blood to do so. I wonder how many people that ran into this particular location the first time didn't make that connection like I did, and later when they came across the Bloodsucker and were trying to defeat it after like 10 minutes, wondering what the hell's going on, why am I not able to kill it, then they started to realize, oh, okay, it has to be this part with regards to the previous pouch, and then this part with regards to the blood that you have to pour into it, and then they would have to go all the way back to get those items if they didn't get them before, just to defeat or just to get around that bloodsucker. So very interesting. It goes to show the length that the Silent Hill makers made this game, how they were able to pretty much ensure that anything involving these puzzles, they weren't going to piece it for you easily. You would have to really stretch your imagination in order to get around some of these puzzles. So, alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.